by South32 at 87.5 cents per share. Big news this morning.
Yeah, it's amazing news. Dynamic changes, the pathway of our company for many years to come. Completely de-risks us, gives us a second major that essentially can do everyone else's homework for them. Everyone's kind of wondering, are these visuals good or not? Well, I'm not telling you to invest, but if you're trying to decide to put $1,000, $100, or $5,000 into it, here's a company with a lot more resources, a lot more knowledge to put $29 million in on visuals. So if that's not a hint, I don't know what is.
So how did this deal come together? I mean, we obviously knew that Teck took a stake in the company over a year ago. They're a very large copper miner. South32 has been gaining a bigger presence in North America in the last several years. Did they, did they come to you on this?
Yeah, they came to us. So we had a contact through someone at South32. We've talked to a lot of majors in the past. Our big kind of rule for us was, we want to look after our shareholders. We want to preserve the value of NAC itself. So, a hard stop for us is no asset level deal. Hard stop for anybody. So, they knew that. And then they came to us, I think, in the summer, and they said, we're comfortable with the equity deal. And I said, well, giddy up. So, like Teck, we just start the process, access to data room, NDA, site visit, core visit, a couple times. And and then, it's probably 6 months in the making, not that different from Teck. And this deal, took about a month to put together. So, when people see the deal based on a VWAP, you got to realize it's a bit of a moving target right now. And realize that, our price was 48 cents 3 weeks ago today. So we're really happy about the deal. South32, look, it not only does everyone else's homework for them, but for us, like when we come out with good results, we want to make sure people even know who we are. We did that trip to Vancouver. I couldn't realize how many brokers had never heard of us. So having the second strategic comes in really makes everyone's ears perk up, makes people know who you are, but also allows like the BHPs, the Freeports, them to realize who you are. And people have to realize if you want to buy the stock, you got to buy it in the open market now. Like there's gonna be no financings possibly forever. I think we can get to where we want to get to on our cash on hand. And all of a sudden now, this morning, Rob, I was getting calls from like funds in Australia that I've never heard about before. So it's opening up these whole new markets for us. Unfortunately, today is a down day in the general market, but we're still up. So pretty exciting. But yeah, 6 months. That's what it took.
Yeah, it's a dreadful day in the gold mining sector. It's one of the worst days of 2024. So to be green on that day is pretty good. But yeah, I agree that probably the share price is being held down a little bit by the action across the board. So let's delve in a little more. So South32 came to you about 6 months ago. And so this has been a long time in the making. When did they make their site visit?
They made their site visit. What's probably opportune time, probably right around when some of those northern holes were starting to come out of the ground. So, I think it was good timing. I think they got, eyes on it.
Mm-hmm.
And, someone somewhere in South32 probably saw a similar core like this somewhere else internationally and kind of put one and one together.
Mm. So they have been doing their DD for 6 months on NAC. When did they say, okay, we want to take a stake in the company?
Well, we didn't sign the definitives until last night. So that was the official thing. But, the negotiations really started going probably over the last month. So,
Mm-hmm.
you figure out pricing, everything else. For us, the biggest thing for us, I want to do shareholder friendly deals. You got to look after your partners in Teck, and you want to look after South32. But, for us, it's, preserve the asset, which we did, but also like no ROFR. Like I worked at BD for a long time at IM Gold, and the one thing I know, we wouldn't look at any other property or company if there's a ROFR on it, because right now with these gold companies, they have so much cash. Their bottleneck isn't cash. Their bottleneck is people. They don't want to spend a year doing someone else's work and then someone come out from the top of them. So the no ROFR was like the other big thing for us. And then the third thing for us was just not having any warrants attached to the deal. I think warrants create kind of overhang. And if we did kind of do this financing at this price, then, when we have good results come out, then we have nothing kind of stopping us. So those are kind of the three key things, and came up with a price that worked for everyone based on a VWAP. And quite frankly, like, obviously we like the terms, we like the investor rights, but we really do like South32. Like, we've got to know them really well. They knew so much about our project, and they spent a lot of time on it. And there's young guys kind of in charge of the ship there, so they want to get started right away. They want to turn this thing into something. So it's nice to have a team that's that encouraged and to really kind of make this something. So I think the stars kind of aligned for us.
Did they sort of let you know what they like the most about NAC? Did they tip their hat like, hey, we really like this, or this is why we're investing?
These big companies, they keep their cards pretty close to their chest, but I'm not gonna lie, like the same reason why our stock started going up, not only just because of our recent results, but some of the information we gave on the North Zone, that's some of the stuff that really kind of excited South32. That those long areas of disseminated core, that adds significant scale, significant grade, and it's things that the big boys are looking for. So they happen to be there when we're pulling that core out of the ground, and I think that's what kind of really piqued their interest.
Interesting. So they were there when you're putting the core of the ground, but they had to pay up. They paid a 52-week high and an all-time high share price. So tell us what this means. I mean, you said this may be the last financing. That's a bold statement, but how much runway does this cash now give you?
Well, Rob, I qualified it with maybe, right? But yeah, in terms of runway, look, we wouldn't be the first company to have $40 million in our bank account. There's certainly a lot of companies that have not spent that, judiciously. We want to make sure that every dollar we look after. So we're not going to go crazy and just start rifling holes in the ground. We're going to make sure that we understand where we're going to put it. But realistically, this gives us 3 years of drilling. 25 to 30,000 meter programs, which 25 to 30,000 meter program is more holes and more total meters than we've put on in the last 3 years. So we're fully funded for that. That would still leave probably $9 million in the coffers. Not to say we can't go over more, but the back of the envelope plan is probably 325 to 30,000 meter programs, 3 to 4 rigs over 3 years. And obviously, we can lever that based on what we're seeing. We're still waiting for 11 assays, which will come out imminently once this deal is closed. But that's kind of the plan. And you got to realize that you get a 30% tax credit in BC. So that $29 million over 4 years actually gives you $42.5 million, because you just roll that in, you get 30% back. You roll in again, you get another 30% back. So that money works for itself.
That's it. That's an important point. Like a lot of people don't understand that you get a tax credit in BC. Okay, so the winter. So you said the assays are ready to start to come out as soon as you close this financing. So does that mean you're going to put it out all 11 holes at once, or are you still going to put it out in batches?
They're not all ready right now. I suspect that we'll probably be ready to put out at least 3 or 4 holes out. Shortly thereafter the closed. We're obviously in blackout for all this information. We couldn't do the negotiating unless we were. So we're going to stay in blackout until the deal closed. And right after that, we're just going to have news, and just continue to feed the beast. I told people 3 weeks ago we're going to have news every 2 to 3 weeks, and kind of stayed by my word. It was 3 weeks ago today that we put out hole 28. And then this deal is going to close another 2 weeks, and we're going to have more news after that. We just want to keep on feeding the beast, give people information. And slowly but surely, more and more people will pay attention to our stock. The more people that pay attention, the more people that buy it. But yeah, we're fully funded, and we can just do whatever we want to do in terms of drilling. We can test all of our theses out. We can drill around that donut, and hopefully, kind of blue sky this thing. This maybe this is coming from my promoter hat, but like, my big issue now is not whether we have something here. I thought we had something once we hit hole 2208, that big long hole of 0.5%. I think with South32 in here now, I think the market's going to realize we have something. And I think I kind of have a race against the clock, 12 to 24 months, to blue sky, get as much value for this project as I can before someone comes in over the top and gives us an offer we can't say no to. So we got a lot of hard work ahead, but to have $40 million in the bank is a position not many junior companies are in.
No, that's for damn sure. I can maybe count them on one hand. I mean, especially with your market cap. I mean, even after this deal closes, you're still 140 million market cap. Normally, companies that have 40 million would have like a $400 million market cap, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, do you know what's crazy? 2 years ago, almost to this day, November 7th, 2022, we had a lesser market cap than what we're going to make in interest every year on our cash in this next 12 months. That's how far we've kind of gotten. And I tell people, I said, don't underestimate our ability, our team's ability to unlock the value on this project on the geological side. Don't underestimate our ability to get value for us on the corporate side. We brought in 2 partners. We've 30x nearly in the last 2 years. So, don't be surprised if we have the ability to, minimum 10x ourselves. That's kind of our goal. My goal is to get triple comma. Let's get to that $1 billion valuation. Not promising anything, but that's our goal.
Oh yeah, you got to have goals in life. So that's the next goal. What about Teck? So Teck was your early partner at NAC. They came in there pretty early on, wrote a check, then wrote another check. They got up to 19.9, but they let it slip back. I think they're down to what, 13 or 14% now. Are they going to top up?
Yeah, so they're 15.2% right now. They gave us 3 checks in 2023. They were there when nobody else was. They gave us that initial, credibility. I think they're just kind of focused on some of the bigger, things that Teck wants to focus on, QB2, etc. And when we did that financing in April, they felt bad about not participating, but they said, listen, we got so many things going on. You guys are big boys now. You guys can do it. So it's nothing personal that way. But, for us, they don't have a ROFR either. So we treat them as a shareholder. We got to look at shareholder value and bring in South32, again, a company that an investor that doesn't have a ROFR is going to hold on to the stock, not sell it. It's dilution without actually diluting. We're doing good by Teck being a shareholder. And Teck has the right to maintain that 15.2%. They have a couple days to let us know, 5 days. And they haven't let us know that. And they usually keep their cards pretty close to their chest. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to hightail it down to Penticton to get an eyes on the core the same way South32 did.
Okay, so they have until Monday to make a decision. Is that right?
I'm not going to get into the investor rights, but they're online. Yeah, I think they have. I think they have a certain amount of days to let us know. So yeah, they'll let us know within the next week. And if they participate, great. If they don't, that's fine too. We're in a good position regardless.
And if they do participate, it would mean that they have to write about a $4 million check to top up. Is that right?
I think it's about 5.2 million.
Okay.
And but look. I don't know if you've read the book, The Big Score.
Yeah, great book.
Look, Inco Falconbridge, Voisey's Bay, right? So we're kind of setting our plan, got the path right now. So if anyone hasn't read that book, look at it.
Well, can you say that again, Tony, because you just faded out for 5 seconds.
Yeah, so look, Inco, Falconbridge, Voisey's Bay, our holy grail was to bring in a second major, which we did. So brings attention to you, creates competitive tension. It's diluting without diluting. These guys are holding on to it long term, and at least investors can kind of see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Like that's probably who's going to create the liquidity event someday. But the fact there's no ROFR, there's no other reason that another major can't come in. Now all these other majors are actually going to know what NAC is.
Mm-hmm. If somebody has a question for Tony, please ask to speak, and I'll activate your speaker mic. So the winter drill program. So this was a possibility previously. You said it all depends upon our cost of capital. If it makes sense, then we might do it. So now you got 37 million. You might have 42 million. Next week. Do you pull the trigger and send the rigs back out there in January or February?
I think we're evaluating all of our options. Before this deal came in, it probably made more sense to do it then, even though cost of capital would be higher, just because we know where we want to drill it to get the stock up and allow us to do a raise. But now we don't have to do a raise anymore. So the question is, are we better off drilling in the winter now, or just waiting until the spring? Again, we're going to wait till our assays are coming out, evaluate all of our options, and make the best decision for our shareholders. I reminded a shareholder today, look, we put out a hole January 7th, 2024. We didn't drill until June. Our stock tripled. So, maybe it's best not to drill. Who knows? But, we're going to evaluate everything. The size of our program, how long the program is going to be, whether we drill in the winter, etc. And once those assays are coming out, we'll give, the market an update on our plan, which will be dynamic.
Perfect. We have a question from the audience. The Deep. Go ahead and ask Tony your question.
Just to start off, I just want to say this is more of a statement than a question. I want to thank Nate Smith for kind of bringing this to a lot of people, and I'm sure Tony would echo that. He's done an amazing job of spreading a lot of knowledge about American Eagle, and I want to thank Tony for really being extremely shareholder friendly and defending the value of the equity, in my opinion, in these deals that have been done over the last 12 to 24 months. As a shareholder, I'm greatly appreciative of how valuable he's sort of held existing shareholders in his mind in doing these deals, because there's endless numbers of deals that you could look at from other junior explorcos where existing shareholders were certainly not necessarily taken into account when it came to raising money. So I just wanted to kind of say those two things and thank both of you guys a lot. And thanks for having me on, CEO.
Hey, look, thanks for that comment. And look, Nate, Robson, Charlie, Neil, it takes a village. It's a lot of teamwork there. It's not one person. And look, Nate's been a big part of that. I talked to Nate a lot. In terms of protecting shareholder value and giving communication to investors, I was started investing in junior stocks when I was 18, and I kind of took a note of what things worked and what didn't. So I just try and do the same things that I want from CEOs when I'm an investor for them. And most of it's just communication. And I think first and foremost, South32 and Teck and everyone else, I'm sure they like Nate, and I'm sure they like me and Rob, but in the end, it's the rocks and it's the project and it's NAC. So it's the geology is why we kind of got to where we got to. And it's guys like Rob and Nate that kind of help spread the word and have people know about it. And in the end, it's my uncle who ended up passing away that pretty much grabbed me by the throat and made us get this NAC project, who's no longer with us. But again, it takes a team, and some people aren't here with us anymore, but I appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, that's a great comment. Thank you for that. I'm curious, Tony, like now that I have you here, how many large mining companies have been to NAC in the last year or so?
More than you think.
That's a Tony answer. More than you think. Okay, Nate, do you want to say anything? You want to pop up here? Anybody else want to ask?
Can I give you a little story though?
Yeah, sure.
I hand to the heart, and I'll tell you something I haven't told. Maybe I don't know if I've been recorded telling this, but we had two majors that were interested in us, and they didn't work out. And one of them was they wanted to do an asset level deal. We didn't want to do that. And the other one was just taking too long trying to make up their decision. We had to do a financing. We kicked them to the curb. But they're all really nice people. But the big takeaway I had from both of those, because even though we couldn't get a deal, both of those companies had their head geos. They actually contacted me personally. And they said, do you mind if I buy stock on the open market? And I said, you guys can do whatever you want. So even though there's never a deal with those companies, their main geos came to me, loved the project enough to actually buy it personally, which, gave me some confidence in terms of what we were doing.
Nate, you're up, man.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Nate.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes without saying here, congratulations. I think this is a tremendous deal. Reading through the fine print, thank you for commenting on most of it there. I noticed that they're saying they have rights to appoint a board member, but they're not going with right now. Is there any comments about their involvement with the technical team? Like, they have access to the data room, but are they going to be looking at this project to possibly give you guys any direction, or do they have any requests for areas of exploration? It sounds like the north is what got their attention. Is there anything else that they like about the project?
Loaded question. First of all, they're not taking a board spot. They can if they want, which is fine. I think that's what they did with their last deal. In terms of how involved they're going to be, I've said before, Teck was pretty hands off last affair. South32 wants to be a little bit more involved. And for us, look, the more the merrier. these guys have been around the world. They've seen different things. They have different ideas. And the more smart minds that are in our data room helping us point those drills in the right direction, the better. And I think they want to help us find something. So they'll be very, very involved. And again, like I think it's the North that they're extremely interested in. But I think they think this thing could be a lot bigger than that too. I think that donut that we've shown in our presentation really does have merit, and it could really build out. So we're just going to get as many people focusing on this project to figure out where we can drill the best holes and get shareholder value as high as possible, as fast as possible. Because really, I think it's going to be a race against time.
Alan Berry.
I don't think.
Alan.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Alan.
For me, it always starts with a great project, but these days I am also very focused on companies that are bringing their audience of shareholders and potential shareholders into the process of treasure hunting. And a great way to do that is the way you guys do it, which is podcasts and videos. And you guys are really relentless in getting the story out there. And I just wanted to say congratulations and keep up that kind of work, because I think our industry, from the top down to from the majors to the explorers, needs to do a much better job of using the modern tools of digital marketing to tell the industry the story of mining, metals, their companies. And you guys are really a peer leading company in that regard. It is paying off for you with the Truth Machine and at the bank account. And congratulations, and keep up the great work.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Alan. Appreciate it.
ID the X, you're up next. We'll take one more question.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Tony. Hey, great job again on the financing. 2 questions real quick. One, you said South32 was there when you were pulling some of this North Zone core out and they saw it. Was there a premonition or a reason that, or was it just pure coincidence?
I think it's pure coincidence, to be honest. Yeah, I think they're there. That's what I think I recall. But they see the same thing everyone else saw. So even if they weren't there, they would have seen the visuals, and those same visuals that we put up on our presentation. And I think it goes to show you. I think anyone thinks that buying on visuals is a risky maneuver. I think someone putting $29 million on visual, maybe de-risk that quote unquote risky maneuver. But it's kind of just luck. But I think we would have got there anyway, because they would have seen the visuals through the data room, etc.
Okay, and then Alan Wilson was there. Is there talk or thought about bringing in an outside view, getting different eyes on?
Yeah, look, it's funny you mentioned that. I got an email from Alan this morning. Be great to have him come back. But look, we got some extra money in the treasury, so who knows? Maybe we can bring in Dick Silito, or I know Nate Smith, like Steve Garwin. So we're going to evaluate everything. We're going to evaluate where we're going to drill. We're going to evaluate what we're going to do in the off season, and we're going to evaluate what experts we're going to bring in. And I think that's the kind of money you want to spend. Each drill hole is $300,000, so it's really a lot more than bringing some of these experts that have found deposits, have really kind of seen the rocks all over the world. So long answer, short answer is yeah, we're going to bring in some more experts.
Excellent, thanks, great job.
The one thing we're going to do though when we bring in these experts, though, we like to share this information. So the one requisite I want to do, kind of like what we do with Nate and Rob and Charlie, is we bring these experts in. We want to make sure that we do interviews with them, so the rest of the public understands what they're seeing. And the same thing, like Charlie's doing a presentation somewhere in Vancouver next couple of weeks. And I said, sure, we'll sponsor there, but you better videotape that presentation so we can show it to the rest of the public.
Perfect, thanks.
Yep.
I think Steve Garwin would be fantastic. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Garwin too. Final question, Tony, and then I'll let you go. So you said we'll put out the assays, we'll think about everything over the holidays, we'll come back with a plan, and we'll clearly express it to the market. The market is telling you, just based upon the price action, it wants you to drill more, drill bigger. Does that mean that we could get 30,000 meters in the next phase of drilling?
I think a minimum 25,000 meters. We're
Yeah.
gonna have at least 3 rigs. You run 3 rigs for 6 months. You do the math. 6 times 65 times 30.
That's
You know,
going to be,
you
yeah.
get to you get to about 8,500 meters there, and times that by 3. I think that's kind of your minimum threshold right there.
Okay.
I think the question is how many do you heli? How many do you do around the donut? How many do you focus on that north zone? How many do you extend over to that IP embayment zone? I think it's less about the meterage. It's more about where those targets going to be.
Got it. All right. Well, great update. Thanks a lot. Fantastic news. Very, very happy shareholder. Amazing story. It's my biggest winner of the last 3 years. So thanks.
Yeah, big thanks to you, Rob. I think we first started talking January 2023 before Teck even got on board. So you've been there from the beginning. So just appreciate everyone's help, Nate too, and Alan and whoever else. Just keep on following the story. There's no dumb questions, and if you got any suggestions for us, or I'm super easy to contact. So keep it up.
Onward and upward. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This will be up on Goldfinger Capital shortly. Cheers.
Cheers.